comments want to have my colleagues be aware of. The first of these is whether we can count on you to support continued assistance to Nagorno-Karabakh, Artsakh, especially for demining efforts, and expanding support to healthcare and rehabilitation services, especially those injured in mines. The second is whether we can count on you to support aid to Armenia for the 25,000 Syrian refugees that they've taken in. The third is I'm chair of the Sindh caucus. Southern Pakistan, Sindh, has faced extrajudicial killings, forced conversions of Hindu girls and after they've been kidnapped, and then forcible marriages. And Dr. Anwar Laghari, the brother of a dear friend of mine, was subject to extrajudicial killing 4 years ago. So I hope that you can pledge to raise gross human rights violation in Sindh with the Pakistani diplomats that you interact with. And I hope that you'll also be able to support more outreach in the Sindhi language from our Karachi consulate, and to support $1.5 million a year so that the Voice of America can broadcast in the Sindhi language. Now I want to pick up on Mr. Conley's comments. Khashoggi was brutally murdered. So far, our sole response has been to tell 17 thugs that they can't visit Disneyland. They can't, these 17 button men who won't get U.S. embassies. That's an inadequate response. I'm going to suggest a better response. There are a lot of things we could do to Saudi Arabia that may not be our traditional policy, may not be in our interest, but one thing that is in our interest is to prevent Saudi Arabia from getting a nuclear weapon for 3 reasons. If you cannot trust a regime with a bone saw, you should not trust them with nuclear weapons. Second, even if you think MBS is a tremendous leader for the future, he's not a democratically elected leader. He could be overthrown by the Wahhabi clerics at any time. And of course, the Middle East doesn't need a new nuclear weapon. What I've seen in this administration recently, and it's just come out, is an effort to evade Congress and to some extent evade your department and provide substantial nuclear technology and aid to Saudi Arabia, while Saudi Arabia refuses to abide by any of the controls we would like to see regarding reprocessing, enrichment, et cetera. And we see strong advocacy of this coming from a group called IP3 and others who seem very close to the Saudi regime. In particular, we've seen your Assistant Secretary of State, Chris Ford, say that the Department will conduct some nuclear cooperation through memorandums of understanding, which don't require congressional oversight or approval, rather than through a 1-2-3 agreement. And we see that there were some 6 licenses granted by the Department of Energy which in normal course are made available to the public, but are instead being kept secret, all of which provide for the transfer of nuclear technology to Saudi Arabia. So can I count on you and the administration to release these 6, they're called Part 810 authorizations, by the middle of this month?
I'll have to look into it.
Can your staff prepare for us, or you prepare for us, a list of all the types of nuclear commerce the administration believes it's entitled to engage in without a 1-2-3 agreement that's gone through congressional review?
We can certainly take a look at that. I can assure you that we will do our level best to comply with the law every day. And if you believe that we're not doing that, our obligations, please let me know.
It appears to be, in one case, an end run. It appears that this is an end run around the law in an effort to achieve a policy. Do we want to provide nuclear technology to Saudi Arabia before they enter into agreements for no reprocessing and no enrichment?
We've been working, we collectively, the United States government, the Department of Energy, the State Department, and others, been working to get The Saudis have indicated they want civil nuclear power. We've been working to make sure that they do
But
so.
why wouldn't they want controls except for the reason that they want nuclear weapons? How do you generate an extra kilowatt by keeping the IAEA inspectors out?
Yeah. You know, I can only tell you that the Islamic Front very much wanted to do the same, right? They didn't want any of these things in either, and we got a deal that
We
was
treated
well
Iran
below.
like an enemy. If Saudi Arabia is hell-bent on developing a nuclear program that is uncontrolled and designed to make them a nuclear state or a possible nuclear state, will we treat them as an enemy?
We are working to ensure that the nuclear power that they get is something we understand and doesn't present that risk. That's the mission statement.
These 6 secret Part 810 authorizations are inconsistent with that, and I look forward to you making them available to the public or at least to this committee. And with that, I recognize my fellow head of the Asia Subcommittee, the ranking member thereof, Ted Yoho.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Secretary.